So it's come to my attention that you guys want review videos about comparing different bikes. So I'm going to do that for you. Now what I could do is I could list out the different specs of a different bike and then just talk about them. But that's boring. We're not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I came up with an idea. And it's called Bike Gladiator Ring. And let me explain what that is. We're going to compare two different bikes. For every $100 that the bike costs, it's going to get 1 life point. And then we're going to talk about different things like the weight, the amount of aftermarket parts, the frame material, the bars material, that kind of thing. And whichever bike has the better quality of that option, it's going to take away a life point from the other bike. And then we can do a fun way of looking at the two different bikes and see which one's left standing. What I need from you guys though is I do need you to leave in the comments what you want me to review next, because I genuinely don't know what you guys are kind of comparing and trying to figure out which one's better. And I don't want to compare bikes that no one's looking at. With that being said, guys, enjoy the video. Thank you so much. The Dougster Bomb mission, growing BMX by making it fun and easy to understand. For some of us, it's an escape. For others, it's a passion. But for all of us, it's a lifestyle. You're gonna love this sport. I'm glad you're letting me teach you everything that I know about it. So welcome back to the Bike Gladiator Ring. As always, I do have to start the video off with a couple shout outs. First one's gonna go out to Salvador Blanco. He was hanging out with me in the live yesterday, lots of fun. And he also sent me a message on Instagram and told me to do some bike comparisons. So that's what this turned into. The second shout out is gonna go to John Lee. He's been commenting on some stuff. He also sent me an email and said, can I have a shout out? So here's your shout out, man. I appreciate the support, but let's get right into it. All right, so in this video, we're gonna have the Kink Gap versus the Sunday Primer. Now these are two very similar bikes that I get asked about all the time. And generally what I say is that, the Kink Gap has some variations. So if you're tall or you like a free coaster, that's a good way to go. Sunday Primer has the Primer Park version and has some cool colors. So if you're just into the colors, go for it. But that's really as in-depth as I look at it. But we're gonna list out the different specs and see which one's actually better. So first, let me read to you what Sunday says about the Primer. The Primer is a serious starter bike at a seriously great price. New for 2021 is the Primer. Well, I don't want to read about the park. Oh my gosh, hold on. All right, the 2021 Sunday Primer, a BMX bike, may be pitched as a beginner bike, but it is nothing to sleep on. Sealed bearings where you want them, chromoly 3-piece cranks, and a list of Sunday and Odyssey components create a bike that has pro-level traits and geometry, but at a size specific for smaller riders. Utilizing a 20-inch top tube, BMXers 4'10" to 5'6" need not look further. Sunday has you covered with the 2021 Primer 20-inch. Okay, and now this is what Kink says about the Gap. The Gap is a versatile machine ready to handle anything you throw at it. Featuring modern geometry, the frame, fork, and bars add 4130 chromoly into the mix. It is available in matte bone white and gloss black chrome colorways. Components found on the Gap take things up a notch and are not to be missed. Then it goes on about how it has 9-inch bars, Kink striker forks, all that. I'm not going to read it because I feel like I'm in school reading. I don't particularly like that. So those are the two bikes that are going to face off. I'm going to write down the specs and we're going to see which one's better. All right, so we have everything listed out now, and this is how it's going to work. So everything above this line here counts for a whole life point. Okay, now everything from the bottom here, they're less important things that really don't matter that much. So they're only worth half a point. And these will kind of end up as the tiebreakers if it comes down to it. Now, it's not looking good for the Sunday Primer, but I don't know, it had a couple advantages. So let's draw the lines. The red line going from one to the other is like an attack. And so yeah, let's see how it goes, all right? Sunday Primer has only high tensile steel. The Kink Gap is tri-moly. So it's not full chromoly, but it is a lot better than the high tensile steel because those front 3 tubes are made out of chromoly. So that's going to be a whammy over here to the Sunday primer. Next, the bar material. Now, the primer didn't say, it just said Sunday 2-piece bars, and if they're not specifying that they're chromoly, I'm going to go ahead and guess, 99% sure, they're high tensile steel. So we're going to go ahead and give that over to the Gap. So far, it is not looking good for the primer. But how about the rim quality? The rim quality, they're both going to be single wall, so that is a wash. Next, we have the weight. The Gap weighs 26.13. The primer weighs 25.8. So good job. All right, the primer took off a point. And now we have the fully sealed bearings. Neither of them are fully sealed. So the front wheel on both of these bikes are loose ball bearings. It's not that big of a deal, but you might take it apart one day, bearings fly everywhere, and then you'll be sad because you'll need a new wheel. But that's not super important. They're both loose ball. You can get a new front wheel that's fully sealed when you're ready for probably $100-something. Now let's move down to the less important things, aftermarket parts. Now, I'm not counting the brakes as aftermarket, I'm not counting seats, and I'm not counting grips because those really don't matter. All right, and the Gap only had 2 aftermarket parts where the primer had 3, so it's getting real close. Now, variations is something that kind of matters, not really. I like it because it can give you the ability to get the absolute perfect bike. What I mean by that is the Gap has the Gap Freak Coaster and the Gap XL with that 21-inch top tube for the taller riders. And the primer only has the primer park. But this is really cool because you can still get the perfect bike if you love park riding or you want a free coaster. So I really emphasize when brands do include variations. However, primer park is the only variation. The Kink Gap has 2, so wham. Now let's take off the other half point here. Is that right? 2.3, and we're going to take off another half point here, and we got 1.2. So it still survived. I honestly thought it would get totally smacked out, but the primer survived. The Gap has a lot more life, and what that means in the long term is that generally the Gap is going to be a better bike, especially for the price. Better bang for your buck, hands down. Sunday is still a good company. They make really good parts, but I don't think the primer is the way to go. All right, so that was a lot of fun to do. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As you can see, the Gap totally beat the primer, and sucks to suck, I guess. But I do have in-depth reviews on both of these bikes up on my YouTube channel. I'm gonna go ahead and put them on the end screen. If you wanna watch me talk about them for like 8 minutes, I go real in depth about everything you need to know about it. So don't forget to check that out. Leave a comment, let me know what you guys want me to do next. And don't forget to subscribe if you like this kind of content. There's like 50 some bikes in the 2021 lines altogether right now. And I'm gonna be reviewing those and doing the comparisons. So have a great day, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me.